Hey everybody, Karen here. Welcome back to Unpinned Creative. Today I'm going to show you how I turn this pocket, which was flat, into a gusseted pocket so that it could fit this tag. And I'm going to show you how I made this tag using bubble wrap, PVA glue, fabric and some stamps. So let's get into it. Alrighty, let's see where we're at today. I think we are up to day 5, which was the honeybee page. One of my favourite pages, one of my favourite subjects. Pop that out of the way. Okay, so the prompts were number or sentiment and ticket. So I made these mixed media grungy tickets. So that's day 5 in the Defember series if you want to see how I made these. And I love those. I don't need to do anything else to those, so I'll just pop them out of the way. What I would like to work on though is, I love this background, so I'm not going to change that, but this is a pocket and I would like to make something to stick inside it. The first thing I want to do though, so I found this piece of packaging that came with some gloves, and I want to use that to stick into the pocket. It is fairly thick though, and I'm going to be adding a bit to it, so this pocket is not going to be it's not going to have enough give in it, I don't think, to keep this inside. So what I'm going to do first is remove this pocket from the page very carefully. I glued it down well, of course. So I'm carefully going to remove this, and then I'm going to expand it. Okay, so I have that pocket off, and this is the back side, so I'm not worried about this. Plus we're going to be covering it up with a gusset. The damage to this page has managed to stay within the borders of that pocket, so it will all be covered up again. So I'm very happy with the success of that. Alright, the first thing is to give this pocket, this piece of card, a gusset, and I just have a piece of lightweight card here, a strip of card that I grabbed out of my scrap pack, and I am going to first decide how wide I want my gusset to be. So it probably doesn't need to be as wide as this piece of card. I can probably just fold that in half that way. Yep, so I'll give you some measurements if I can find my ruler. Okay, so that is just over, or just under 1/2 inch, and just over 1 centimetre, so maybe 12 millimeters. And what that means is that is 7/8 of an inch wide, and then folded in half. Okay, I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure that's a really good crease. And I will trim that down the side of, down the center. Okay, then I'm going to take 2 lengths, 2 pieces the length of the card, one for each side, and then I want 1 piece for the bottom. So 1 piece the width of the card. Alright, so we have our 3 gussets. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is cut off the bottom edges at a 45 degree or thereabouts angle. on all 3 pieces. And then I'm going to glue the, oops, on the bottom piece you need to do both sides. And actually do all the, you need to do that on both ends of the piece that is going to be glued down onto the card first. Okay. And then I'll pop some glue on the outside of that bottom piece with the corners chopped off, and with the crease on the outside edge of the card, line it up. And I'll just trim off any bits that are sticking out. Alright, bottom gusset added. Now for the side gussets, we're just going to do exactly the same thing. It's getting a bit dark here. It's very rainy again. We've had quite bad flooding, and we've actually had a leak in the house. We've had quite bad flooding in New Zealand, not here in, well, a little bit in Tauranga, but not as bad as in Auckland. They've had very bad flooding over the last couple of days. We've had some landslides, well, little landslips, and we've developed a leak in the house overnight. So my ex-husband is under the house right now. If you can hear all the banging and crashing, he is under there trying to figure out where the leak is coming from, which seems weird, being under the house trying to figure out where a leak is coming from, but that's where he is right now. Okay, so there we have the gussets added to our pocket. Now all we need to do is glue it down to the page. So if we bring our page back in, actually before I do that, I think I'm going to ink just the edges of those. And I'm going to use wild honey, seeing as this is a honeybee page. Now at the top here, I'm going to trim those top edges on an angle as well. And down the bottom here, the bottom corners on an angle, just so they won't be seen at all. I'm going to re-ink the edges of the front of this pocket as well, just to take care of any scrappy bits from where I removed it. We'll make them less obvious. The good thing is this is a grungy page, so the scrappy bits just add to the grunge, don't they? Really? Alrighty. So now we can glue that down and cover up the mess I made here. So I like to glue my side edges first. Put glue on those first, and then do the bottom, because I want the bottom to come over those 2 side pieces. That means that whatever you stick into the pocket can go right to the bottom instead of getting caught on this lip. There we go. Move that up a bit. Okay, not too bad. Let's stick this in here. Yep, that goes in much easier now. And I just want to push it, make sure I push it right to the edge and right to the bottom, making sure that I haven't glued, accidentally glued the pocket in any places I don't want it glued. Alrighty. Much easier in and out. Okay, we can work on this now. I am happy with that. Let me put the lid on my glue, the lid on my ink pad. And all I'm going to do to start with is collage over the front of that. So I have some bits and pieces here, some scrap kind of straw paper, I think you call it. Some book pages from a Winnie the Pooh book, a piece of painting paper. It has yellow on it, so yellow and black, bumblebee colours, so I have to use that right. Another piece of painting paper with yellow on it, and some gold foil, vintage gold foil wrapping paper. So I'm just going to use those to make a background collage on both sides of this. Alrighty, there is the background done on that tag. Now we are going to jazz it up a bit. I'd quite like to have this be the change you want to see in the world on one side of the tag. So I think we need to cut it just down there where that tree is. Okay, I'm going to glue this down on the back of the card to start with. And then we'll see how we go from there. Now I don't want to make it completely flat. I want some yummy wrinkles and texture in there. So I'm just kind of squishing or smushing it around with my fingers in the glue. Alright, so that's that side. Not finished yet, but this side I'm going to put 2 of these little beehives down the bottom. Now I want to add some texture, so I have some bubble wrap, and I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we are going to see. And I have some PVA glue that I have put yellow dye in. Right, let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to pour that on the bubble wrap. Oh, my bubble wrap has a hole in it. Okay. And then I'm going to no, that did not work. Okay, we're just going to make a blob of honey. Too much glue was the issue, I think. That's pretty cool though. I'm pretty happy with that. I need to put this somewhere where it's not going to leak on everything. Okay, if my bubble wrap didn't have a hole in it, that wouldn't have been half as messy as it turned out to be. Right, I'm going to dry that off. Okay, so you can see once it's dry, it goes a lot darker. The PVA, as the PVA dries, the dye, because I put a lot of dye into the PVA, becomes much darker. So that's pretty cool. I'm very happy with that. I like the kind of honey splotches, and I think I'm going to do some more on this one. just a little bit to use up the rest of what I already had on that bubble wrap. Right, I'll dry that off as well. So one of the reasons that I used the PVA is because I wanted it to be translucent and also have some gloss to it, and I like PVA because of the viscosity that it gives me. So it's not too runny, but it's not thick either, it's just runny enough. And I guess you could achieve the same sort of a result with maybe a gloss gel medium or something like that. I didn't have that, so I was just using what I have, which was PVA. So I wanted something that kind of would give me the look and texture of honey on a page, with the glossiness of it and the translucency of it. So you can see it's completely translucent. You can still clearly read the text underneath. I'm just going to add a little bit more on top of this. Okay, now I've taken that bubble wrap and I am going to, I've cut it into some smaller pieces, and I'm going to pop those on the front of, onto this tag. And then I'm going to pop some on this side as well. Right, next I'm going to grab my water-soluble pencil and just do the edges of the tag. Okay, now I'm going to, so I've just done the edges and smudged it out on both sides, and now I'm going to bring in a stencil. I want to kind of add some more to this middle area, which is a bit blank. So I have a honeycomb stencil and my vintage photo and a dauber. Okay, vintage photo isn't working for me, so I'm going to try walnut stain and see if that's better. See if I can get this back. Alright, I feel like there's quite a bit going on there, but it still needs something else, so I'm going to add some white splatters and see if that helps. I'm happy with this side. I don't want to do too much on this side. This is going to be the back anyway, and I don't want to take away from that sentiment. So I'll just dry that off. I am happy with that. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to, this reminds me of a do not disturb sign that you hang on your door, so I'm going to put do not disturb in the middle there. And I'm going to do that with my alphabet stamps and some black soot. Okay, alright, I'm happy with that now. I have one more thing that I want to do. And that is to take one of these beehives and I'm going to hang it from here. So it's just picking which one I like. I think I like this one. Fussy cut that? Well, not really. Cut that out. I'm going to attach it to a piece of card. Ink around the edges of that. And I'm going to do some stamping on the back of that actually, because I love using these stamps. He's at work. Alright, now to attach. So I'm going to use my crocodile, my big crocodile, to punch a small hole in this card. There. I'm going to punch one in this as well. And then I'm going to grab a piece of twine. So the trick with threading something through a small hole, if the end is fraying, is to get some glue on the end of your finger. Twist the end together. Right, let's see how long I want it. Maybe about there. Tie it off. Just make a little half bow. And then tie this one off. And there we go. That is my bee tag. Okay. Let's pop it in the page. Make sure it fits. Where did I put my tickets? Clear some mess away. Here we go. Pop my tickets back on. And that is a much more complete journal page. I love it. Thanks so much for joining me again today, and I'll see you in the next one.